Yes, Ultraman, an icon, a hero, and a legend. Ultraman is a show I have already talked about before on my channel, but if you want a better explanation of Ultraman's history, you should watch Tokusatsu's video, because it's a lot more better, and I think that's where I genuinely got the interest of it. Anyways, I never talked about how good it is until 8 months ago, when I started watching this show, and it took me too long to finish it. But hey, I guess we're here now. So I'm going to talk about the characters, the opening, the story, the kaiju designs, and of course Ultraman himself, and its main problem, the Kaiju of the Week formula. The cast of characters in Ultraman are pretty good. I actually like everyone in the SSP. They all have their own traits and charms to them, and I generally like them a lot. Let me introduce them. Muramatsu, the main captain of the team, Arashi, the stubborn sharpshooter of the team, Akiko, the communication and sister-like in the team, and my personal favorite character, Ide, who is the brains of the team and Mr. Funny Man himself. Finally, our main character in the show, Shin Hayata, who's the optimistic and brave in the team. These are our characters for the show, and to be honest, I do love these characters, and it's amazing that Eiji Tsuraya did a great job to make me care for these characters. Because this franchise has a bad habit of them making characters that I really just don't give a shit. To be honest, Muramatsu, Akiko, and Arashi are very interesting characters, and Ide is just amazing. He really steals the spotlight in the show, and he's very funny. He's a very funny character. I just love him. I love so much about Ide, but then we have Hayata, and I gotta be honest with you guys right now, Hayata is just an average main character for me. There's days where I thought Ide was the main character, but then I realized Hayata's the one. My only reason why Hayata is kind of average for me is because, I don't know, he doesn't bring much to the table. For me, I'm so used to having characters who have character development or just go mentally depressing in the series. Like shit, one of my favorite characters in the Ultra series is Mirai, Haruki, and Atsumi. And yes, I get it. I mentioned 2 characters from New Generation, so shut the fuck up. So seeing Hayata not really having character development is kind of boring to me. I kind of get it why they did this, because they want a main character that children can look up to as a hero. So it makes sense. But one of my favorite moments of Hayata Ide is from episode 37, The Little Hero. There's a scene where Ide starts to give up on his work because he always thinks Ultraman is always the one who defeats the kaiju. But Hayata tries to convince him that his work always helps Ultraman, and they assist him, but Ide doesn't believe it. Until one scene where Pigmon dies in front of them, and Hayata snaps out of Ide and makes him realize what he should have do and stop relying on Ultraman to do everything. That scene really made me love Ide and Hayata's character. Seeing a funny man go through hopelessness and seeing an optimistic person snap out of anger really makes me love the characters, because it shows even a happy and strong person can be as sad and weak sometimes. And it's normal for humans, to be honest. I forgot to mention about the opening, and it's mostly the first thing I talk about, but the opening's a lot different compared to its other Ultra series, because the opening during the Showa era at its time used children singing at the time. But the opening's pretty good, not gonna lie. It's kind of pretty banger, not gonna lie. But not, 10 out of 10, But anyways. The story of Ultraman is kind of not there, and the thing is, Ultraman doesn't really have a story, but more episodic. Each episode doesn't really go anywhere, it's just the characters vibing around, and then when a kaiju appears, they come and kill it, and then Ultraman finishes the job, and that's pretty much it. But there is some episodes where Ultraman fails to kill the kaiju, so there's sometimes the SSP actually completes their mission. And I actually like that when the SSP completes their mission, and not Ultraman, because it shows that the SSP is still useful as well. But even if Ultraman doesn't really have a story, they do recall some kaijus from previous episodes. Like, example, episode 16, Science Patrol into Space, bringing back the most iconic character, Alien Bolton, returning him back into the series. And then episode 35, The Monster Graveyard, an episode where we saw the Kaijus that got defeated by the SSP or Ultraman. So, yeah. Speaking of Ultraman, Mr. Man, or whatever you call him, Ultraman is just an iconic character. So the suit team who made Ultraman's suit did a pretty good job to make an iconic design such as Ultraman. And it's interesting to see the suit evolve throughout the series. Yes, I said evolve, because fun fact, during its making, Ultraman's suit was rushed, by the way. The suit designer told Narita, who made all 3 versions of Ultraman's suit, originally he didn't want to put the color timer, you know, the one that Ultraman has in the middle of his chest, but instead, he put the color timer on the suit, and he really hated it. But it was a genius idea because it shows how Ultraman has a limit as well, like a human. So it's pretty cool, and it's cool that in Shin Ultraman, Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi actually used the original idea and removed the color timer out of Ultraman's chest. So that's cool. So that's pretty sick, not gonna lie. So seeing Ultraman's suit evolve to be more buff and clean is so satisfying to me, because you finally see the most iconic suit. But watching the early episodes of the show, seeing Type A's suit is just funny to me, because it's just I don't know why. Maybe it's just his mouth. Maybe that's why it's funny to me. But seeing Type B is cool as well. But I'm happy we got to see the iconic suit. So yeah. While I'm talking about Ultraman, I should talk about the Kaijus. The kaiju designs in Ultraman are all iconic. For being its time, Tsuburaya had to reuse suits from its previous shows like Ultra Q and some of Toho's suits. But even if they reuse suits, they're pretty iconic, not gonna lie. There's so many kaijus in the series that came back in the future series. Like examples, Gomura, Alien Bolton, Red King, Dada, Zecton, of course he's iconic, dude legit just killed Ultraman. Alien Muffilas, I hope I pronounce it right. Bemilar, Nerogan, Rogon, he just appeared in Decker just like last week. And so on and so forth. But there's some kaijus I've never seen before. Like examples like Woo, Goldon, Skydon, Gamma Gudia? Question mark? And Kila. I fucking love Kila. It's such a weird ass kaiju design, but so simple. I have never seen these kaijus before, so it's so surprising to me. But I feel like they're gonna use these kaijus again in the new generation, so I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. Now I'm gonna talk about the main problem of Ultraman, the Kaiju of the Week formula. To be honest, the Kaiju of the Week formula can be either a good or a boring idea. And Ultraman has that problem because, again, Ultraman doesn't really have a story. It's more episodic, and it kind of makes watching it in one sitting kind of hard because there's nothing special happening. The thing is, if you use the Kaiju of the Week formula correctly, you can make a good show. Like the Heisei era, the new generations, because they balance the Kaiju of the Week formula and the story better compared to Ultraman. But I guess it's Tsuburaya's second show, so it makes sense. And mostly his next project was Ultra 7, and that did incredibly well. I know I didn't put comedy in the category, but I just wanted to talk about the stupid shit I've seen in this show. Because again, Ide is one of the funniest characters in the Ultraman franchise, but there's more dumb shit I see in this show. The show, for having very limited VFX, it gives very dumb shit moments. Like, there's so many times where Hayata keeps jumping off a building or a kaiju getting dropped down from a cliff, and it turns into a ragdoll in the next scene. Like, let me show you this. Like, it's so stupid. It's just so stupid. And then there's scenes where there's a boat flying in the air for some reason. I'm just gonna show you guys one of my, just one of my favorite dumb shits in Ultraman. So enjoy it. And by the way, I took these clips from Garudon's videos. You should watch his other out of context videos and his retrospect of Ultraman Max video as well. So you should watch his shit as well. I'll put him in the description. So yeah. Anyways, enjoy this clip.
バカ野郎飛べもしねえくせに。
いやー、諸君、我々の兄弟。
よし、頼むぞ。はい。奴の尻の穴を狙え。はい。先ほどのお釣りです。お願いします。このいいほぼ。
Yeah, they're pretty dumb, not gonna lie. Anyways, let's get to the conclusion. To be honest, for being the first Ultraman series, not including Ultra Q, it is enjoyable, but very hard to watch in one sitting. The show has its pros and cons, but it's not a shit show. It's a good show, to be honest. So I'm gonna give this show a 7.5 out of 10. So now, I'm gonna go watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, the Ultraman version.